Hello there, it is a Tuesday, which means it's time for another in real life video. This week, we're taking another Gentle Viewer submitted question. As always, you can submit them in the comments below. Helps me a ton if you include a question mark in there for me to Control F and add it to our ever-growing list. We actually got quite a few last week. I guess it's because people didn't think that I was taking questions that were less serious and more like fun, silly video game related, like, oh, what's your favorite whatever in a video game? But absolutely, those are on the docket, and I really enjoy doing them. If we get even more, we may have to do, I don't know, we may have to do like 2 of these a week or something like that, right? We're starting to get quite a few questions. Anyway, regardless, this week's is of a similar ilk, a very fun question related to a bit of a niche topic, but one that is a niche covered by this channel. Anyway, person who submitted the question, their username should be in the bottom third of the screen right about now, and they asked, let me bring it up here, they ask, what story themes do you hope to see explored in the Elder Scrolls 6? Right, another question about Elder Scrolls 6 specifically. In this case, I can focus it down to just one. Obviously, there's a ton of different things that it would be cool to show up. Like, I'm on the record saying that I tend to like it when fiction explores religion in a nuanced way. Like I'd mentioned before, I love when we have sort of like a crossroads between using like a fictional world or whatever to explore and sort of recontextualize or think about real world politics and ideas in a different way. Right? Either more indirectly or very overtly. But I very much enjoy that. And this is sort of along those same lines, right? Like I said, there's plenty of different themes that I would love to see, right? like you know, there are gajillions of themes. I don't think there's really any that I wouldn't want to see, I guess, is a way to rephrase that. I don't know, maybe revenge, like the pitfalls of revenge we're at a point where it's a little overplayed in a lot of contemporary fiction, right? Revenge and the evils of revenge just shows up a lot, which, you know, I agree. Don't kill yourself over revenge or anything like that. It just shows up in a lot of media recently in the past, I don't know, 5 years or so. It feels, maybe that's not true, but it feels that way to me. I don't know if anyone else gets that vibe, but, you know, it feels like it's old hat at this point. Like, oh, yeah, don't go on a revenge quest to save someone that you really liked, or to not even save them, but to avenge them in some way. Don't do that. Don't sacrifice all of your morals and ethics and everything and everyone else that you love just to get revenge. You know, it feels like old hat. But something I would love to see in Elder Scrolls 6, just one thing specifically, like I said, we'll narrow it down. If you listen or watch a lot of videos I make, you may already know where this is going. I would love to see them explore the one commonality that all Elder Scrolls characters, or all Elder Scrolls protagonists, I should say, have, right? The one big uniting facet of every Elder Scrolls protagonist. That being that you start out as a prisoner. It's not really thoroughly explored, as far as I know, in any Elder Scrolls game, right? It's very much takes a back seat and only ever crops up again if you commit a different crime and you're like incarcerated for that or whatever, right? But I'm on the record saying that I would love it if we saw more sort of, I don't know, more sort of a story focus, or not even a focus, but sort of a nod toward something to do with like systems of criminal justice and injustice as well. Ways in which people are rehabilitated, or you could go darker with it, ways in which people are used by a bigger system at large. We don't really know what Elder Scrolls 6 is exactly going to be about. As far as I know, everything is just rumors and postulation. There's nothing concrete about, like, even where it's going to be set, if it's going to continue like the continue forward from the Civil War arc of Skyrim, you know, like involve more sort of instability in the Tamrielic Empire, more of this iteration of the Thalmor coming after people and sort of going about their horrible business. We don't really know if it's going to involve that. For all we know, it could be like a major time skip again. That seems extremely unlikely, right? But it's within the realm of possibility, I think. However, I will operate under the assumption that they will go with what is more likely, and there will be some continuation of that like narrative thread, that the Thalmor will still be involved and will still be a major threat. And I would assume that we won't see them stop being a major threat unless a player protagonist gets involved directly, right? I could see that being the case, whoever the player protagonist is in like Elder Scrolls 7 ends up being the one to take down Thalmor Hitler or whoever it is, right? And that sort of wraps it all up in a nice little package for us. But taking a step back along those lines, I would love to see a situation wherein you could, for instance, have the Thalmor taking like prisoners of war, we could start out as like a prisoner of war from the Thalmor or whatever. Maybe you have to go and free other prisoners of war, or maybe it's less so a prisoner of war situation and more, you're kind of held like the war is gone. We're in like a state of Cold War and erupting, maybe throughout the course of the game, erupting into a revitalized conflict with the Thalmor, sort of overthrowing them once more, right? Where your character is working in the shadows for probably half of the main story quest, and then the other half, it's sort of the knives come out, right? Knives out moment. You've got all of your ducks in a row, hopefully, and you have like a big showdown with whatever force is in that area of the game, right? But yeah, I would love to see something wherein they're taking prisoners, right? The Thalmor have sort of subjugate a lot of people. They're working prisoners who work for free, I would love to see something like that. I would love to see sort of more exploring, or not even exploring, but sort of using a part of Starfield's background system, not necessarily to where you pick what exactly it was you were caught for, right? I think that would be a misstep. I think it's important, if not crucial, to Elder Scrolls to always maintain that it's completely vague, right? Because in some ways, I think that is both good for role-playing and makes for a fun thematics in the storyline and narrative and all that, as sort of like this equalizing point, right? Especially if it comes to be that like a hostile force like the Thalmor is why you're being arrested, why you've been incarcerated or taken by them. If you're working in some sort of like horrifying labor camp or whatever at the start of the game, whatever like that, and you end up having to go around, you free other people and stuff like that. I would love that. I would love to, just in general, just more reasons to see the game sort of explore that, sort of the way in which someone could come from being a prisoner and go forward to do amazing things and helpful things, or alternatively go on to be such a horrible bastard, depending on how much agency they give you in various like quest arcs and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of at the forefront of it. I think I would so much love to see that. And it doesn't even have to be the Thalmor. We could do one wherein like the Thalmor have completely taken control of the Tamrielic Empire, and thus Thalmor and Tamrielic Empire, save for like, I don't know, some sleeper cells or whatever of blades, are sort of operating. The Tamrielic Empire is basically just another hand of the Thalmor and their regime. That would be interesting. Just a lot of like that, right? I think there's a lot of, verdant, fertile soil to hatch a storyline like that. Yeah, to hatch. That's what you do with soil. You hatch stuff in it. I think there's a lot of room for that. And it's mostly a desire born out of the fact that they haven't really done too much with it, as far as I know. Like I've said before a gajillion times, it's entirely possible that in like ESO, they've covered this in great detail, and I just have absolutely no idea, or some other game that I haven't played. Entirely possible. But as far as I know, it's kind of a, I don't know, wasted opportunity. They don't really explore too much about the idea that your character was previously incarcerated. You don't even have to go into why, right? Like I said, there's no need to extrapolate upon like, or give a forced reason as to why it was. In fact, I think usually the prophecy requires that it's by uncertain causes that you are in prison, right? But I think there is, like I said, there's room to explore the fact that you are a prisoner, that you are someone who has gotten out by whatever means, you know? I would love to see that. Like I said, it's hard to say much else than that because we just don't know very much about Elder Scrolls 6 at present. We can talk more confidently about it as more information comes out through official means. Obviously, if something unofficial does come out, just covering all the bases here, I could, but I probably shouldn't talk about it, being as my channel has quite the heavy focus on games made by that studio. So you'll have to look elsewhere if you want any juicy leaks or whatever regarding anything BGS, because I would, as a YouTube channel that covers this stuff, I would like to be in their good graces for the foreseeable future. There's plenty of other channels and subreddits and Twitter accounts that you can follow that cover stuff like this. So apologies. We can only do stuff from BGS if it's out on an officious level. All right. That ought to do it for this week. A bit of a shorter one. Like I said, if we get a whole bunch of these, I may just say screw it, and for at least for a bit, we'll do them twice weekly, right? If we get a whole bunch. But for now, it's a manageable amount. I don't want to, overstep here and sort of like run through the list of questions too quickly. Like, I don't want to jump the gun here, so to speak. Anyway, that ought to do it. I think also tying in stuff that I said last week with regards to the East Empire Company, I think that could make for a fun theme, sort of like this sort of a theme that covers the sort of dangers of unchecked capitalism of the East Empire Company kind of run amok, and like what would you call it? A company sort of gaining judicial power by way of like lobbying the Elder Council or something like that, right? Man, that would be pretty wild. That would be a wild one, right? I feel like we would have to deal with well, no, you probably wouldn't have to deal with the Thalmor before you could get something like that, right? Yeah, that would be interesting. Governmental lobbying by way of the East Empire Company and Thalmor influence and stuff like that. That would be very fascinating to delve into. Any sort of like ways in which you analyze government in that way. I think it's very juicy, which we have to be a little bit careful in case I want to do something like that for Fallout 5. You have to sort of walk a tightrope, so to speak, because, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of factions in Fallout that could serve a similar purpose as the Tamrielic Empire, Anyway, sorry, I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Like I said, I really enjoy these more silly, lighthearted sort of lines of questioning. I'm very much having fun with them. Anyway, we'll end it for now. I think that's it, right? Yeah, I think that's it. Until next time, please take care of each other.